playing with you, I will break your fucking neck.
There is something about a courtroom that strips everything down to the bone. Two sides, one truth, and a room full of people deciding someone's fate. The tension, the twists, the moments where a single question changes everything. Courtroom dramas are unlike any other genre in cinema. Hi, my name is Max, and this is Top Movies, and today we are counting down the 20 best courtroom drama movies of all time. 20th place, Primal Fear, 1996.
Marty, I thought you had it figured there at the end.
Well, you put me on the stand like that? That was fucking brilliant, Marty.
Primal Fear is one of those movies that grabs you by the collar somewhere in the very first act and does not loosen its grip for a single second until the credits are rolling and you are sitting there in complete silence trying to process what you just watched. Gregory Hoblet's 1996 thriller follows Martin Vale, played by Richard Gere, at his most charming and most dangerous, a hotshot Chicago defense attorney who thrives on high-profile cases and the media attention that comes with them. When a soft-spoken stuttering altar boy named Aaron Stampler is accused of brutally murdering a prominent archbishop, Vale jumps at the opportunity, not necessarily because he believes in the kid's innocence, but because the case is going to be on every front page in the country. Edward Norton plays Aaron Stampler, and I want to be genuinely careful here about how much I say, because this is one of those performances where going in with too much information would be doing you a real and significant disservice. So I will keep it simple and I will keep it factual. Edward Norton was 26 years old when he made this film. It was his feature film debut. He had never appeared in a major Hollywood production before this moment, and he received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, his very first movie. I want you to sit with that for just a second before we move on. Primal Fear is a slick, razor-sharp legal thriller with dialogue that crackles and one of the most genuinely shocking and satisfying endings the courtroom drama genre has ever produced. It belongs on this list, and it is not even remotely close. 19th place, Philadelphia, 1993.
Everybody in this courtroom is thinking about...
Philadelphia is not an easy film to watch, and Jonathan Demme never once intended it to be. That discomfort is entirely the point, and it is precisely what makes the film so important and so enduring. Released in 1993 at a moment when the AIDS crisis was devastating communities across America, and the conversation around it was still wrapped in fear, stigma, and deliberate silence, Philadelphia walked directly into that silence and refused to leave quietly. The film follows Andrew Beckett, played by Tom Hanks, a brilliant and highly regarded attorney at one of Philadelphia's most prestigious law firms who is secretly living with AIDS. When the firm discovers his condition and moves to push him out, Beckett decides to fight back, and the only attorney in the city willing to take his case is a loudly homophobic ambulance chaser named Joe Miller, played by Denzel Washington in a performance that is every bit as essential to the film as Hanks's own. What unfolds between them is a deeply human legal drama about discrimination, dignity, and the fundamental right to be treated fairly and equally under the law, regardless of who you are or what disease is in your bloodstream. Tom Hanks won the Academy Award for Best Actor for this performance, and it remains to this day one of the most committed, physically transformative, and emotionally devastating performances in the history of Hollywood. Philadelphia did not just tell a story about one man's fight, it started a national conversation. And that is exactly what the very greatest courtroom dramas have always done. 18th place, Judgment at Nuremberg, 1961. If you want to talk about high stakes in a courtroom, it is very hard to top a military tribunal tasked with judging the architects of the Holocaust. That is not drama manufactured for Hollywood. That is the weight of history pressing down on every single frame. Stanley Kramer's Judgment at Nuremberg is a masterwork of restraint and moral seriousness, following the post-World War II military trials of Nazi judges, men who did not personally operate the camps, but who used the law itself as a weapon of systematic oppression. And that distinction is exactly what makes the film so unsettling. Spencer Tracy plays the presiding American judge, and he brings the kind of quiet authority to the role that only a handful of actors in history have ever been capable of. The cast assembled around him is nothing short of extraordinary. Burt Lancaster, Marlene Dietrich, Maximilian Schell, and a quietly devastating cameo from Judy Garland that will stop you completely in your tracks. Maximilian Schell won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role as the defense attorney, and the film earned 11 nominations in total. What makes Judgment at Nuremberg so truly remarkable is that it refuses to offer easy answers or comfortable conclusions. It asks one central question: whether following orders absolves a man of guilt. And then it makes you sit with that question long after the credits have finished rolling. 17th place, The Rainmaker, 1997.
And their lobbyists and their public relations machine to convince us we need tort reform.
Francis Ford Coppola directing a John Grisham adaptation should have been one of the biggest cinematic events of 1997, and the fact that it was not remains one of the great undersold stories in modern Hollywood history. The Rainmaker follows Rudy Baylor, played by Matt Damon, a freshly graduated law student with zero courtroom experience, zero clients, and zero money, who finds himself going up against a massive predatory insurance company that has been systematically and knowingly denying claims to dying patients. It is the definition of a David versus Goliath story, and Coppola understands exactly how to play that dynamic for maximum effect. Danny DeVito plays Rudy's unlicensed legal sidekick. Yes, you read that correctly, Danny DeVito, as a paralegal operating well outside the boundaries of what the Bar Association would consider acceptable. And somehow, against all reasonable expectations, it works completely and brilliantly. What elevates The Rainmaker above the crowded field of typical legal thrillers is the sheer unpolished underdog energy running through every scene. Rudy Baylor is not a seasoned courtroom gunslinger with a killer instinct and a wardrobe full of expensive suits. He is just a decent young kid who knows that what is happening to these families is wrong and refuses to walk away from that knowledge. It is funny in the right places, genuinely tense when it needs to be, and it has a warmth and heart that most legal thrillers never bother to reach for. Matt Damon is quietly excellent throughout. 16th place, Witness for the Prosecution, 1957. Billy Wilder directing an Agatha Christie courtroom thriller. That is not a combination you get very often, and the result is nothing short of extraordinary. Witness for the Prosecution follows Sir Wilfrid Robarts, Charles Lawton, a legendary barrister recovering from a heart attack who takes on what appears to be an open and shut murder case. Marlene Dietrich plays the defendant's wife, and she is absolutely magnetic. The film is built on misdirection and cunning, layering twist upon twist in a way that feels entirely organic rather than manipulative. It is also genuinely funny in places, which is a Wilder trademark that not enough people talk about. If you have never seen Witness for the Prosecution, stop what you are doing after this video and fix that immediately. You can thank me in the comments. 15th place, A Few Good Men, 1992. You want the truth? Of course you do. That is why you are watching this video. And honestly, that line never gets old, because Rob Reiner's A Few Good Men is one of the most purely entertaining courtroom dramas ever committed to film, and it is powered by one of the single greatest scenes in the history of cinema. Tom Cruise plays Lieutenant Daniel Caffey, a young Navy lawyer who has never seen the inside of a courtroom, suddenly tasked with defending two Marines accused of killing a fellow soldier. Jack Nicholson plays Colonel Nathan Jessup, a man so convinced of his own righteousness that accountability feels like a personal insult. Aaron Sorkin wrote the screenplay, adapting his own stage play, and every single exchange crackles with the kind of razor-sharp dialogue that makes you want to rewind and watch it again immediately. Nicholson is predictably volcanic and completely magnetic, but what often gets overlooked is how strong the entire supporting cast is. Demi Moore, Kevin Bacon, Kevin Pollak, J.T. Walsh. Every single one of them pulling their weight and keeping the whole machine firing perfectly from the opening scene straight through to that unforgettable, roof-raising courtroom confrontation. A Few Good Men is simply one of the best. 14th place, The Verdict, 1982. Sidney Lumet directed some of the finest courtroom dramas in cinema history, and The Verdict is arguably his masterpiece of the genre. Paul Newman plays Frank Galvin, a down-and-out Boston attorney who has spent years at the bottom of a bottle, taking whatever cases fall into his lap. When he is handed what should be a simple medical malpractice case to settle quietly, he makes an unexpected decision. He decides to actually fight it. Newman received an Academy Award nomination for this role, and he is breathtaking in it. There is a weariness to Frank Galvin that feels completely lived in, and watching him slowly rediscover his own sense of purpose is one of the most quietly moving character arcs in all of legal cinema. The verdict is a slow burn, and it earns every single moment of its finale. 13th place, Marshall, 2017. Before Thurgood, Marshall became the first African-American justice of the United States Supreme Court. He was a young NAACP attorney taking on cases nobody else would touch. Marshall, directed by Reginald Hudlin, follows a pivotal early case in Marshall's career: the defense of a black chauffeur accused of assaulting a wealthy white socialite in Connecticut in 1941. Chadwick Boseman plays Marshall with the kind of cool, commanding intelligence that made him one of the most magnetic screen presences of his generation. What makes the film particularly clever is that Marshall is largely silenced throughout the trial due to a legal technicality, forcing him to work through a local white attorney played by Josh Gad. It is a film about strategy, resilience, and the quiet dignity of fighting for justice in a system that was never designed for you. 12th place, Anatomy of a Murder, 1959. Otto Preminger's Anatomy of a Murder is the kind of film that makes you realize just how sophisticated Hollywood storytelling could be in the 1950s, if the filmmakers were bold enough. James Stewart plays Paul Beegler, a small-town Michigan attorney defending an Army lieutenant who admits to killing a man, but claims temporary insanity after his wife was assaulted. The film is extraordinarily frank for its era, discussing rape, sexual behavior, and psychological defense strategies in ways that genuinely shocked audiences at the time. The courtroom sequences are meticulous and procedurally accurate in a way most legal films are not, and Duke Ellington composed and appears in the score, which is an incredible detail. Stewart is magnificent, playing against his usual wholesome image to deliver something more morally complicated and deeply compelling. 11th place, Michael Clayton, 2007. Okay, so Michael Clayton is not technically a courtroom drama in the traditional sense. Most of it takes place outside of any courtroom, but it belongs on this list because it is one of the greatest films ever made about the legal world, about the machinery of corporate law, and about what happens when one man's conscience finally overrides his survival instincts. George Clooney plays the title character, a fixer for a powerful Manhattan law firm who becomes entangled in a massive corporate cover-up involving a chemical company and a class-action lawsuit. Tilda Swinton won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her portrait of a corporate attorney slowly unraveling under the weight of what she has done. Tony Gilroy's direction is precise and ice-cold, and the film's final scene is one of the most quietly triumphant moments in modern cinema. 10th place, To Kill a Mockingbird, 1962.
But what was the evidence of her offense, Tom?
There are certain films that transcend their genre entirely and become something closer to a moral reckoning, a moment where cinema stops being entertainment and starts being a mirror held up to the conscience of a nation. To Kill a Mockingbird is one of those films, and it belongs in a category almost entirely its own. Based on Harper Lee's landmark Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, the film follows Atticus Finch, played by Gregory Peck, a widowed lawyer in 1930s Alabama who agrees to defend Tom Robinson, a black man falsely accused of raping a white woman in a town that has already made up its mind before the trial has even begun. Gregory Peck won the Academy Award for Best Actor for this performance, and spending even 5 minutes with the film makes it immediately clear why the decision was never in any real doubt. Atticus Finch became the defining image of quiet moral courage in American cinema. Not a man who stands up because he expects to win, not a man chasing glory or recognition, but a man who stands up simply and entirely because it is the right thing to do. The courtroom sequence at the heart of the film is deeply moving in a way that sneaks up on you slowly and then hits all at once. And the moment where young Scout watches from the balcony above as the entire black community rises in silent unison to honor her father as he walks out of the courthouse. That image is one of the most quietly devastating and profoundly beautiful in the entire history of American cinema. 9th place, Kramer vs. Kramer, 1979. Not every great courtroom drama is about a murder trial or a corporate conspiracy. Sometimes the most devastating cases are the ones fought over a kitchen table or a custody hearing. Robert Benton's Kramer vs. Kramer follows Ted Kramer, Dustin Hoffman, a workaholic advertising executive whose wife, Meryl Streep, walks out on their marriage, leaving him alone to raise their young son. 15 months later, she returns and files for custody. What follows is one of the most emotionally honest depictions of divorce and parenthood ever put on film. Hoffman and Streep both won Academy Awards for their performances, and the courtroom scenes between them are brutal in the most human way possible, because there is no villain here, just two people who are both right and both wrong at the same time. I will be honest with you, this one wrecked me. 8th place, The Lincoln Lawyer, 2011. Some attorneys work out of gleaming high-rise offices with views of the city skyline. Mickey Haller works out of the back seat of a Lincoln Town car. Based on Michael Connelly's novel and directed by Brad Furman, The Lincoln Lawyer follows Haller, Matthew McConaughey, a morally flexible Los Angeles defense attorney who takes on what appears to be a routine case for a wealthy client accused of assault, only to discover that the truth runs far deeper and far darker than anyone anticipated. McConaughey is absolutely in his element here, charming and slippery and smarter than everyone in the room, and the film moves at the kind of propulsive pace that keeps you completely locked in. It is sharp, it is fun, and it is one of the most underrated legal thrillers in recent memory. 7th place, A Time to Kill, 1996. 2 John Grisham adaptations on this list, and they earn their spots for very different reasons. A Time to Kill, directed by Joel Schumacher, is arguably the most emotionally charged of all the Grisham films. In rural Mississippi, a young black girl is brutally attacked by 2 white men. Her father, played by Samuel L. Jackson in one of the defining performances of his career, takes justice into his own hands and is then put on trial for it. Matthew McConaughey plays the young white attorney who agrees to defend him, knowing it will cost him everything. The film asks a question that it is not afraid to sit with. If you saw the same crime committed against a white child, would your verdict be different? That question, posed in the film's closing argument, is one of the most electrifying moments in courtroom cinema. Jackson is absolutely extraordinary. 6th place, Runaway Jury, 2003. Another Grisham. I know, bear with me. But Runaway Jury earns its place for one very specific reason. John Cusack and Rachel Weisz play a couple who have secretly engineered their way onto a high-profile jury in a case against a gun manufacturer. Gene Hackman plays the ruthless jury consultant hired by the defense, and Dustin Hoffman plays the idealistic plaintiff's attorney. When Hackman and Hoffman share the screen together in a parking garage confrontation, you are watching 2 of the greatest screen actors of their generation go toe-to-toe in a scene that absolutely crackles with tension. Director Gary Fleeter keeps the whole film moving at a ferocious clip, and the cat-and-mouse dynamic between Cusack and Hackman is endlessly entertaining. Runaway Jury is a first-rate legal thriller that does not get nearly enough credit. 5th place, Inherit the Wind, 1960. Inherit the Wind is based on the famous Scopes monkey trial of 1925, in which a Tennessee schoolteacher was prosecuted for teaching Charles Darwin's theory of evolution in a public school. Stanley Kramer directs once again. The man had a genuine gift for films that use the courtroom as a mirror held up to American society, and the results are extraordinary. Spencer Tracy and Frederick March face off as the opposing attorneys, delivering 2 of the finest performances of that era, and their closing arguments are among the most intellectually thrilling exchanges in the history of courtroom cinema. The film is about science versus religion, but it is really about something even bigger: the right to think freely and to question received wisdom without fear of punishment. It feels just as relevant today as it did in 1960, which is either a testament to the film or a fairly uncomfortable observation about history repeating itself. 4th place, My Cousin Vinnie, 1992. Here is where I get to have some fun, because My Cousin Vinnie is the greatest courtroom comedy ever made, and I will not be taking questions on that. Joe Pesci plays Vinnie Gambini, a barely qualified New York attorney who has failed the bar exam 6 times and has never tried a single case. Dispatched to rural Alabama to defend his cousin, who has been falsely accused of murder. Marisa Tomei won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress as Vinnie's fiancée, Mona Lisa Vito, and she is genuinely hilarious and also, at a crucial moment, the most important witness in the entire trial. What elevates My Cousin Vinnie beyond pure comedy is that its courtroom procedure is shockingly accurate. Legal scholars have actually cited it as one of the most procedurally correct courtroom films ever made. Joe Pesci yelling about pause attraction in the rain is a more authentic depiction of cross-examination technique than half the serious legal dramas on this list. You cannot make this stuff up. Third place, JFK, 1991. Oliver Stone's JFK is 3 hours and 8 minutes long. I know that sounds like a warning label. I know that sounds like the kind of runtime that makes you check how comfortable your couch is before you commit. But I promise you, it is not a warning. It is an invitation. And once this film gets its hooks into you, which happens somewhere around the first 15 minutes, you will not be checking the clock even once. Kevin Costner plays Jim Garrison, the New Orleans district attorney who mounts the only criminal prosecution ever brought in connection with the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, targeting a local businessman named Clay Shaw, played with cold and sinister elegance by Tommy Lee Jones. The supporting cast surrounding them reads like a who's who of 1990s. Hollywood, Joe Pesci, Gary Oldman, Kevin Bacon, Donald Sutherland, Sissy Spacek, and every single one of them is operating at the very top of their game. Stone weaves together documentary footage, dramatic reconstruction, and pure cinematic invention into one of the most propulsive, overwhelming, and genuinely thrilling experiences in the history of American film. The film's final courtroom summation, delivered by Costner in a performance of extraordinary controlled intensity, runs for nearly 7 uninterrupted minutes and stands as one of the greatest pieces of screen acting and writing the courtroom genre has ever produced. Whether you believe the conspiracy or not is almost entirely beside the point. JFK is a masterwork of cinema, full stop. Second place, 12 Angry Men, 1957. Sidney Lumet's 12 Angry Men is not just one of the greatest courtroom dramas ever made. It is one of the greatest films ever made in any genre by any director in the entire history of cinema. Full stop. No qualifications, no footnotes. The entire story takes place in a single jury deliberation room on a sweltering summer afternoon in New York City, as 12 men are tasked with deciding the fate of a young man accused of murdering his own father. 11 of them walk into that room ready to send him to the electric chair without a second thought. One of them, juror number 8, played by Henry Fonda in what might be the finest performance of his legendary career, is not so sure. And that hesitation, that single, quiet, courageous refusal to simply go along with the room, is where the entire film lives. What follows is an absolute masterclass in dramatic tension, character development, and the fascinating, infuriating mechanics of human persuasion. Lumet, making his feature directorial debut, wrings every last drop of drama from a single room, a single afternoon, and 12 men who could not be more different from one another. The ensemble cast, Lee J. Cobb, Ed Begley, Jack Warden, Martin Balsam, Robert Webber, is one of the finest ever assembled for a single film. 12 Angry Men is about the justice system on the surface, yes, but underneath that, it is really a film about listening, about the terrifying ease with which we form judgments about other human beings, and about the profound moral weight and responsibility that comes with being willing to change your mind. First place, To Kill a Mockingbird, 1962. I know what some of you are thinking. To Kill a Mockingbird was already at number 10. And you are right, it was. But here's the thing. When I sat down to finalize this list, I kept coming back to one question. Which film, more than any other, captures everything that courtroom drama can be at its absolute best? Which film uses a trial not just as a plot mechanism, but as a lens through which to examine the deepest questions of human justice, moral courage, and the society we choose to build. And the answer kept being the same film. Gregory Peck's Atticus Finch is the most enduring figure in the history of legal cinema. Not because he wins, he does not, but because of why he fights. Because of what he says to his daughter Scout about the only real measure of a person's character. Because of the way he stands up in a courtroom in 1930s Alabama and speaks the truth plainly and without flinching, even though he knows the room has already decided. The American Film Institute named Atticus Finch the greatest hero in the history of American cinema. Not an action hero, not a soldier, a lawyer, a father. A man with a conscience in a town that was trying its hardest not to have one. Robert Mulligan's direction is understated and precise, finding poetry in the small details. The way light falls through a courthouse window, the quiet dignity of a community bearing witness from the balcony above. Elmer Bernstein's score is as tender and melancholy as the film itself. And the screenplay, adapted from Harper Lee's novel by Horton Foote, who won the Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay, captures the voice of a child trying to understand a world that does not yet make sense, while also giving us one of the most clear-eyed examinations of racial injustice in American storytelling. To Kill a Mockingbird is the #1 courtroom drama of all time because it understands something that the very best films in this genre always understand. That the courtroom is not just a room where verdicts are delivered. It is a room where we decide what kind of people we are. And Atticus Finch standing alone in that room reminds us that the answer to that question is always ultimately a choice. And there you have it, the 20 greatest courtroom drama movies of all time, from the shock of Primal Fear to the moral weight of Judgment at Nuremberg, from the comedy of My Cousin Vinnie to the quiet devastation of Kramer vs. Kramer, these are films that use the language of the law to tell some of the most deeply human stories ever captured on screen. If you enjoyed this countdown, give this video a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more movie lovers find this channel and discover some of these incredible films. And subscribe to Top Movies so you never miss a countdown like this one. Now, I want to hear from you. What is your #1 courtroom drama of all time? Did your favorite make the list? Drop it in the comments below. And if you think I got the ranking wrong, well, I will see you in court. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.